we know each other from way back now, because you made a horror movie called Deadwood, and that's one of the reasons that you're a veteran of Cannes, and we're going to talk about that whole experience. But what are you doing here in 2010?
This year is quite a relaxed year for me. The previous years have been a bit more stressful, but this year I've got a film that I'm gently going into production. I'm doing it all on my own, so there's no stress. So I'm basically informal meetings, watching a lot of movies, which I haven't really done before. So, well, not obviously in Cannes, because it's so nice and sunny. You don't want to be in a cinema, but that's where it's all about. So, yeah, I've been watching a lot more films, and actually that's really, really inspiring. So that's been good.
Okay. And have you found the meetings? Are people receptive to the film?
They are, yeah. I mean, it's obviously I'm in a slightly more position of advantage in having made a film that's been distributed by Lionsgate. That opens up a lot of doors, so people will take a meeting. First time it's a little bit more difficult.
Right.
But, you know, they're there. People are expecting people to knock on their doors and drop by, so actually it's the right place to do that.
Right.
And there's never really, heavies on the door saying, get out.
Okay. So, what happened with Deadwood when you came to Cannes? How many years ago was it? And tell us about that experience.
Deadwood came in Cannes 2 years ago. We already had it with a sales agent by that point. We sorted them out in Berlin so that they would be able to take it to Cannes. So it was great. We basically the first floor of the bunker, as it's affectionately known, go up the escalators and faced. The first thing that we saw was a massive Deadwood poster. So it was absolutely
and you felt like you'd arrived.
Totally felt that. And then we stepped into the rest of the bunker and saw about 10,000 other posters that looked fairly similar, or about a film.
Yeah.
Horror. And then the scale of bloody hell. What a small drop in the ocean one film really is.
Yeah.
Became pretty clear.
Because that is quite overwhelming, isn't it, when you go in there and there literally is almost thousands of movies that all look pretty, well, they're a certain way, but they're professional and being sold, and it's very competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had a sales agent who did a great job and made a lot of sales. So we wish we'd been the year before, really, to kind of familiarise ourselves with the whole layout and how it all worked, rather than it was actually quite an important year when we actually turned up having a film in the market.
It's interesting you should say that, because one of the things we're doing this year, we'll get to later in the show, is that we're bringing some filmmakers for the very first Cannes experience, so they can do that thing that you had to do when it's not important. You can kind of have that first Cannes experience without having a movie here, because it's just so overwhelming.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is people always said to us, look, you really should go. And we're like, well, it's pointless. We've got nothing to show. There's nothing to do. We're making our film. What's the point? And we did that for about 2 or 3 years before we actually came, and it is pointless in a way, but you've got to go just so that next time when it actually matters, you know what's going on. It'll save you so much time and effort. Right.
So tell us, what do you think the goals should be for emerging filmmakers for the very first visit to Cannes? What do you think should be their primary goal?
I think the very first time you go, I think it's just literally get your head around it and have some fun. That's it. I think, some people may be like, I'm going to try and get to as many parties as I can, do as much networking as possible, do as many meetings as possible, but which is fine. If you're that kind of person, you want to do that, then great. But if you just said, I'm just going to get my head around it and have fun. I mean, that's the thing is, you're in the south of France. It's sunny pretty much all the time.
Right.
Beautiful beaches. Everyone's having fun. Just have fun.
Yeah.
And also try and catch some movies, because last couple of years I didn't see any movies, and it's actually a really good feeling watching movies here for some reason. I think maybe it's because it's so dark and it's so bright out here, and there's proper movies, and especially the public ones where it's literally 500 people watching a horror film and literally leaping out of their skin all at the same time. You don't get that when you actually pay. People then they've paid and they're like, I'm not sure if that's worth me tenner. There's a kind of
different energy.
Yeah, whereas everyone's gone in. It hasn't cost anyone a penny to actually be watching it, and everyone claps. It's just a really
great,
different, and that's how watching a film should be. Really.
Yeah, I remember the first time I came, just wandering around the market. I was just so grateful to have that experience before making a film, because I could then see that unless my film was a great poster, a great title, a clear genre, unless it was really, boom, sold in that moment, you're really on a hiding.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is first time round, you just have a look in the marche and see how many films are there, how much effort they put into your posters. And I've seen filmmakers who make a great film and then they slap a skull and some blood on a poster and think, great, that's enough. And you look around and you say, no, that is not enough. That you've really got to, once you've even finished your film, you've got to go that extra mile on the marketing. And you kind of partly think, well, a sales agent's going to do that, a publicist is going to do that. But a lot of the time, if you can give them an artwork and they can then see and maybe make a few tweaks, that's a lot less of a mental leap for them to make than something.
You almost have to do their job for them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So give us 3 top tips about attending Cannes or getting your film here. Three really esoteric tips.
Always bring shades, but actually no, because I was on the beach and a man tried to sell me shades, even though I had shades. I'm wondering where the second pair of shades would go. So maybe there's always room for some more shades.
Okay.
If you want to go to swanky parties and things, take your tux and your suit and your black tie and all that, and blag your way. If you're no good at blagging, make sure you've got a lovely lady that can do the blagging for you, or you're just anyone who can do the blagging. That is totally true. It's you need to surround yourself with people who can get you in, and then you can just sort of rock in with them. That's.
I've often found that myself, that you have one person.
I can see that.
This is like a group of 6, all blagged by Stephanie Rate, the Blagginator. But it's extraordinary how you get a group of 4 people, and if one person is good at it, they'll get all of you in. It is often that girl in the group who's, I don't know what it is, some chemistry works, but get a Blagginator in your group.
That's what you need, definitely a Blagginator.
So tell us, what mistakes have you seen happen in Cannes, or mistakes you've made in Cannes that you want to pass on to other filmmakers so they don't fall in the same potholes?
Big mistake number 1 is try and cram too much in, because the temptation is
like making a TV show as well as trying to launch your next film.
Chris.
On a $75 million yacht. What were we thinking?
Because it is expensive to be out here, so you think, well, it's all right, I'll do 3 days and that'll be enough. But the trouble is after the first day you're wrecked, and then you'll meet out and you go out, and then you'll get back in at 3, and whereas everyone else who's not so busy, or 4 or 5 or whatever, they can have a lie-in. You've got meetings at 9 o'clock, so you can't. So that just take a few extra days, and just accept that.
Right.
Second thing, which probably is the first thing, but it's the second thing, is do your preparation beforehand. Last year we had lots of meetings and set them all up beforehand, because it's that much easier. You've already done the legwork. It's hard, you're rushing around here and you're trying to send emails to people, send texts and stuff. It's really difficult to keep on top of it. A couple of weeks before, sort all that out, do your research, and then it's that much. It takes the pressure off.
Right. Okay. Final question then. I always ask everybody this: what advice would you offer an emerging filmmaker?
With Cannes or
anything you want.
Advice for an emerging filmmaker is just, what I always say is just go and make your film. It's just, there's no excuse at all not to go and make your film. But bear in mind that the job isn't done once you've made your film. You're about halfway there.
Yeah. But, the marketing and distribution being the other.
I would say, definitely half.
Yeah.
But have fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, Seb, torture.
It is torture, isn't it? It's absolute torture.
Misery.
Awful.
I'm so depressed. I need one of these.
Yeah, what's that?
What's that one? Happiness in every bottle.
There you go.
Brilliant.